then you're not going to be able to hop on a router and fix that issue from this level 1. You're not even going to have no logins. You're not going to know nothing about that networking aspect. Welcome to Debt Free in IT. I'm your host, Mike. This podcast is for anyone who's looking to get into the IT industry, whether it's for a career change or you're just interested. I think you come to the right place. Today's episode is all about the different levels of IT support. So most of the jobs in IT, you'll end up doing some sort of support. So once a technology is implemented, then you're going to need someone to support that technology. So that support could range from networking support, security support, server support, help desk. Then also you have some jobs that call help desk IT support. So you have a lot of those roles, but in general, all of those roles are there to support their users and support their organization and also support their infrastructure. So today we're going to look at the different levels of support and what those roles may be called, some responsibilities of those roles, and how you may be able to go out and get started within IT support. So the first IT support role, this role can sometimes be called level 1 support. Also, I have seen it called help desk or entry level support. And also it could be called operations. So it just depends on the organization. For instance, when I first got started, my first role was called operations. It was operations because I was doing help desk as well as looking over the data center. So I was running backups and things of that nature. So the title was operations. Then my next step up was help desk, but it was all kind of level 1 of the IT support roles. So with this role, usually you're the first point of contact for users with any kind of technical issue. So when someone's out on the floor and they're trying to do their job and all of a sudden, no matter what the issue is, it could be a networking issue, it could be another issue, but usually this role, you're going to be the first one to get notified about that issue. So you're going to get notified about this issue. Then you're going to have to decide on how to handle this issue. So it could be that you can go out and fix this issue yourself. So it could be something like a basic password reset. It could be something like a broken monitor. You may be able to go out on the floor, change out the monitor. Usually you're going to be able to go out and handle any of the issues that's on a lower level. So it could be some issues that it may pertain to a certain application, but you still may be able to do the basic fixes in that application. So a lot of times you're going to be there to kind of ward off a lot of the issues. That way, all the issues just ain't coming to the higher up levels. So you're there as that first line of defense. You're there to take the grunt of the issues because hopefully you get the bulk of the issues, you can resolve them. Then that way it's less issues that's being passed on to your higher levels of support. Some other responsibilities at this level is, like I said, when I was there, I got started in operations. So my responsibility was running backups and doing monitoring. So you could be monitoring your data center for any kind of issues and also responsible for running any kind of backup. So all of this is usually done in that first level of support. And then also at this first level, this is where you're going to get introduced to your ticketing system. So your job may have a certain application they use for ticketing systems. They have plenty of them out there. I think ServiceNow is probably one of the most popular ones, but whatever ticketing system your job has, this is the ticketing system that you're going to get real familiar with, because as issues start coming in, and let's say those issues you're not able to resolve. So let's say it's an issue where it's networking, where something needs to be done on the networking device. Then you're not going to be able to hop on a router and fix that issue from this level 1. You're not even going to have no logins. You're not going to know nothing about that networking aspect. So this ticketing system, this is how you're going to get in contact with that higher level. So you put in a ticket and you assign it to whatever department that issue is from, or whatever department that issue is for. So if it's a networking issue, you're going to assign this ticket to the networking department. If it's a security issue, you're going to assign it to the security department. So pretty much you're going to use this ticketing system to log and track issues. Then also within this ticketing system, you can escalate issues. So if you have a complex issue that's urgent, you can put in this ticket, put it in a high priority, escalate it up. Then also sometimes with a ticket being high priority, you may be also required to give that person a call or give that group a call just to notify them that, hey, I just put in this high priority ticket and this is the issue and this is what's going on, but I have all the information in the ticket. I just wanted to let you know that I had to escalate this ticket to your group. So you're going to be responsible for doing a lot of that. So in short, you're kind of going to be the one that's fielding through the issues, the ones you can't resolve, you deciding on which group this belongs to. So you need to know which group it belongs to. And also at this level, this is where you start to find out what each group does, because you're the one assigning most of their tickets to them. So this is where you start to see that, okay, which one of these roles I may like to try to move up to, because you're going to see what kind of issues they have. You know, you're going to see if it's networking, you're going to see, oh, dang, they have something go down every week. I might not want to do that. It just depends on you. So you're going to see what kind of issues they got. That way it's going to help you decide which route you may want to go and which route you may want to start to learn and start to pursue. So the next IT support role is at level 2. So at level 2, you could see jobs titled technical support or maybe desktop support. Usually at this level, they're taking on the issues that level 1 couldn't resolve. So these issues often require more technical knowledge, more troubleshooting skills. Also, these issues could be some of the issues that level 1 decided needs to go to this group instead of going to the specialty group that we'll get into later, the specialized group. So if level 1 decides that, oh, this may be a device issue, this may be a PC issue, this may be some other issue that technical support or desktop support needs to resolve. So like I said, they're going to take on the issues that level 1 couldn't resolve. It's going to require more technical knowledge, more troubleshooting skills. I like to call this group here the boots on the ground, because they're the ones that's the eyes and ears for pretty much the whole IT organization. They're the ones, they move more than any other department, because they're the ones that's doing, if anyone need to relocate computers in the office, a lot of times this group will be called to do that. If anyone needs a port activated in a closet, a lot of times this group will be called to do that. So at this level, I often like to say, if you ever look back at my original story or how I got started, at this level is where I actually started to fall in love with IT. This is where I was like, oh, I love this job. So when I got to this level, you know, you get a little bit more freedom, but you are required to, you're going to handle more of the higher technical issues. You're going to need more knowledge. And also from working in this position, you're going to start to learn a lot about the organization and how the infrastructure is. So you're going to start to get a little bit more insight than you did at level 1. So you're going to start to learn, because you're going to be in the networking closets. You're going to see how it's set up. You may not know how it's configured, but you're going to be able to see a little bit more than you was able to see at that level 1. So they handle more complex issues. I like to call these folks the boots on the ground. And also at this level 2 role, a lot of times you're going to start to interact with level 1, and also you're going to interact with the higher levels. So you're going to be that in-between person. You're going to be that intermediate person. You're going to be the one that if you happen to go to a PC and you decide that, oh, this PC is having a networking issue, this PC is not connected. When I go in the closet, I don't see the green lights on the switch. It lets me know that this port is not up. So you're going to be the one that starts to call the higher levels. So you may call network and say, hey, I'm working on this PC in this closet and I have this issue going on. So you're going to become best friends with those higher levels, because you're going to, once the ticket goes to you, then you go out and do your due diligence. Then you may decide that, oh, this ticket is not a ticket I can resolve at this level. This ticket, someone needs to go in on the device and check the configuration. Somebody needs to go in on the server. So you may contact the server team. You know, there's somebody, they can't access this certain website, then you may contact the security team. Oh, this device is not getting an IP address, then you may contact the networking team. So at this level, you're going to interact with a bunch of people. You're going to interact with different analysts in that environment. You're going to interact with different engineers. You're going to interact with senior engineer. So at this level, this is actually where you can start to kind of make your ground, build your name in that organization to where, oh, you're pretty decent to work with. You're a pretty good person. You know, every project you may have, you come through on it. Somebody calls you for an issue, you don't hesitate to go help them out. So this is where you start to get your rep up at your organization, which in turn will help you out whenever you try to move to a higher level or one of the next levels up. Sorry to interrupt this video. According to my YouTube analytics, 84% of my viewers are not subscribed. If I provided any value to you in any one of my episodes and you're not subscribed, please consider doing so because it does help out the channel. And also, if you're listening in your favorite podcasting app, please leave me a review and share this episode with a friend. Now back to the episode. So the next level of IT support, this is often called level 3 support. This is where you get that expert support or specialized knowledge support. So this is where you're going to have the different groups in your organization. So this is where if technical support or desktop couldn't handle it, this is where their next level that they rely on is that networking team, that security team. It could be that applications team. It could be that server team. But whatever that issue is, there's going to be a team that manages whatever that issue is. So this is where this level of support, they get all the high level issues. So the issues that pertain to them, a lot of times their issues tend to be a little bit more urgent. And sometimes another way to look at this level is usually their issues is going to affect more than one person. So in desktop or support, if somebody's PC messed up, it's only that one PC. At this level, if there's a switch in the closet messed up, it's affecting that whole floor. So at this level, like I said, you're going to have a little bit more knowledge. This is where you're going to start to specialize. So this is where you're going to specialize in either networking, security, applications, programming, databases, whatever may have you. But this is where you have that specialized knowledge. So you handle the high level issues. Also at this level, this is where you're managing different systems. You may have different servers for server teams. The virtual environment, usually server team may handle that. Networking, they manage the networking equipment, the network infrastructure, security. They manage that security equipment, security infrastructure, email security. So all types of anything security wise goes to that security team. So this is where you start to have those high level issues with each individual team. And at this level 3, they're usually the ones that's going to work closely with other departments also. So when there's a project being done or there's a project that's being implemented, a lot of times whatever department or whatever specialization, if it's networking per se, then a networking person may be in on that project along with someone from server team, along with someone in security, all of them going in on this one project to make sure it's implemented correctly, that it's secure, and that everything is configured correctly. So there's going to be you working with other departments that specialize in other things. So networking could be working with security. Networking could be working with server. Server could be working with security, vice versa. So you're going to start to work closely with different departments. And also you're going to be the one that works with different vendors. So if a vendor is involved in implementing a new system, you're probably going to be the one that's working with that vendor to implement that new system. And then vice versa. If you have a issue and let's say you're at the highest level of your organization and you're not able to get that issue resolved, then a lot of times you're going to be the one to contact the vendor for whatever application that is or whatever system it is that's having that issue. So you're going to be the one that contacts the vendor, work with that vendor to help get that issue resolved. So at this level, like I said, it's usually the highest level of IT support. So you have level 3. And like I said, the positions, they start breaking down within the team. So networking, this is where you have that network technician, that network analyst, network administrator, on up to that network engineer, on up to that senior engineer. And then some roles just depend on how large your organization is. You may even have architect roles. So all of this is going to be still level 3 IT support per se. It all wraps around, if we had to put one word on it, your higher level IT support, because all of us in these roles, we end up doing some kind of support. So usually you're going to have to support some systems, something get implemented. You're going to need to support whatever was just implemented. So this level, like I said, you're working closely with different vendors. You're also networking and working with other departments, which comes in handy because you start to build relationships with different people, because you never know when someone may leave that organization and they may reach back out to you and put an opportunity in front of you that you can't refuse. So that happens a lot too, because once someone works with you and I know that, oh, you're a good worker. I know that you're on top of this stuff. I know that if we're in networking, I know that, oh, you're pretty good. You're pretty swift with it. So if I land up somewhere that's maybe paying me pretty good, then it's possible if they're still looking for someone, I'll say, oh, okay, well, I can check with old boy, or I can check with this person and see if they're interested. So this is where you start to build that IT relationship. You start to get those relationships, and which also, not saying that you can't build that relationships at the lower roles, because that's possible also, because as you're contacting different people, a lot of times they're going to start to remember your name. A lot of times you may end up having a conversation with them. You may end up working on a project with them or something like that, to where that person may be able to help you out in the future, or you may be able to help that person out. So the last thing I want to talk about is, how would I get started if I had to start all over, or how could someone go about trying to get an IT support role? So the first thing I would say, if you're coming in with no knowledge at all, maybe you got a little PC knowledge, you can do a couple of things on your PC, I would go in, try to learn the fundamentals. For most folks now, the fundamentals is probably going to be looking at a networking class or either a networking cert. So whether that's an entry-level cert, CCST, Network Plus, or if it's a intermediate level cert, such as the CCNA. So a lot of times you're going to learn the fundamentals of networking, and just depending on the route you're trying to go after you learn those fundamentals, you may not have to go and get a CCNA. You could just get an entry-level networking cert, or you may suffice with just getting that certificate or that degree. But once I'm doing this, I would also start applying for different jobs. So I would start applying to jobs like help desk or technical support, desktop, something like that, while working on that certification, or even after I obtained that certification. And then some lower level jobs, so they would hire based on certain skills. So one of the most important skills that's not even technical, if you think about it, if you're coming in, you're trying to get a help desk role, you're trying to get this technical support role, a lot of times you're interacting with people. So one of the most slept on skills is probably going to be customer service. So I've seen people land these jobs such as help desk or technical support just with a customer service background, because at this level, like I said, of course, a certification will help you get in. A certification is going to help you stand out also. But also, if you don't have none of that under your belt, but you have a couple customer service roles, then you still may qualify for one of these lower level positions, because a lot of times you're interacting with people. So it's going to depend on the organization, because some people could look at it like, okay, you got good customer service skills, which is something that can't really be taught. So you're pretty good at customer service. So we can train and get you up on the technical part, because most of it at those lower level roles, you're going to have knowledge bases that you can look at and kind of helps you out with a lot of issues. You know, you're going to train with someone for a couple of weeks. You're mainly going to be doing a lot of password resets. If you're at the help desk role or something like that, it's just password resets for different applications. You may have some other higher level stuff that you may do, but for the most part, in most positions, this could probably be taught to someone. So that customer service, if you just got that and you ain't got no technical background, I would still probably apply for these roles like a help desk or technical support. So first, I would learn the fundamentals, start applying for those jobs like a help desk, technical support, something on the lower level. And then also I would start to network and try to build my relationships. So as I'm trying to apply for different jobs, I would attend networking events. I would attend any kind of industry meetups or any kind of tech meetups, something like that, because at those events, you never know who you run into. So you could catch your next big break at one of those events. And then also, if I do happen to get in the door somewhere, once I get in the door, I'm going to start trying to build those relationships with different people that's in that organization. So, you know, you want to know who's who. You know, if it's a department you got your eyes on, you know, I'm going to try to reach out to someone and just let them know that I got my eyes on this department. So in short, like I said, I would learn the fundamentals, start applying for different roles. If there's a certification I need to get for those different roles, I'll start pursuing that certification. But at the same time, I'm still going to be applying for these different roles, especially if I got a customer service background or I've done worked in customer service before. So before I got in IT, most of my jobs was customer service. Now, I did have the CCNA, which probably helped me stand out a lot. But Before that, a lot of my jobs was customer service roles. So I worked at Advanced Auto for a little bit. The job I got laid off from was the mill, which that wasn't customer service, but a lot of the other jobs I had was customer service. So customer service can get you in the door also, especially at that level and with those type of roles. So that brings me to the end of this episode. Hopefully you found some value in this episode. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you're on Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook, you can follow me at DebtFreeInIT. If you have any questions or comments, you can email me at debtfreeandit@gmail.com. Other than that, I'll see you next week. Peace.